Yo, I'm Drnkie.
I'm The Flood.
And welcome to the Fortnite update, where we talk about patch notes, esports, and all the news related to Fortnite. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. For our audio listeners, make sure you drop a 5-star review and comment on the podcast. And don't forget to share this podcast with everybody in your squad. It's August 22nd. This is episode 1 of the podcast. Let's start the update. Flood, this is the first episode, so I guess the best way to start the talking about Fortnite is to kind of place the current meta and what we're in. So describe what you think the current meta is to me.
Tommy guns.
Tommy gun. 2
words. That's all I really needed to say. We're done. Descriptions.
You're not wrong. You're not entirely wrong with that. This meta is completely dominated by the SMGs, and more specifically the large magazine size SMGs like the P90 and specifically the Tommy gun, along with explosives taking more of a front seat, where before in past metas they haven't been as strong or as destructive to builds. So the explosives have definitely taken more of a prominent role inside of the meta, and I think it's also a very third-party heavy meta. What are your thoughts around those 3 points?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, explosives, I think it's not too long ago that we had rocket spam being a massive issue. So, I mean, explosions in general have had issues in the problem, or issues and problems in the past. Right now, it's all about hand-based explodes like the C4s and those goddamn clingers. You know how much I love those. You know how much I love those.
They're good.
Just evil.
Yeah. But
yeah, and actually you touched on this in the past, that the idea of the third partying is that battles go on too long. Third parties are more common. The SMG meta, I think they did a really good job of really quick patching the P90 to make it a little less prominent, because for a minute it was just god tier. You could not stop that thing. And now all of a sudden I'm like, do I really need one?
I agree.
I'd rather take a Tommy gun and an AR. I like that combo personally. I do both. The Tommy gun and AR, so I can swap back and forth, and it defeats turtling. So does the does the C4, which is a little bit too powerful. So does the clinger, which is a little bit too powerful.
Yeah,
they did nerf the amount of C4 I can carry, which means I take clingers more often now, which is interesting. So it's definitely a little bit too powerful. I'm not sure how they fix it. I know that there's some rumors and suggestions out there on Reddit and all around about doing explosion radius damage, and I think that would probably be a really smart fix to at least get us on the right track.
Sure. Well, let me unpack it a little bit with you. Explosives. You said before that we were in a previous meta where people could just spam rockets at you, but the rockets wouldn't go through walls. It was a very narrow destruction field for the rockets and the grenade launchers. Do you feel like we're in a better place with explosives now that you can shoot less rockets, but they do more destruction for all of the builds, or did you like it more narrowed?
Rockets and grenade launchers, I think, are in a really good spot. I think they're really attractive for making pushes. I think they fit their niche really well, but I don't think they're overpowered. I'm rarely dying to pure rocket spam. Right. I can outbuild it. I can last long enough. I can deal with it, but it gives you the ability to push, and I think that gives it its power, and there's still maneuvers that you can, short range rocket launcher people. That's still going to happen, but that's a game that has an RPG in it. That's going to happen. I'm okay with that, because I'm not dying 9 out of 10 times to that anymore, which was what it was when it was, I could carry 47 rockets or whatever the heck it was. It was ridiculous.
Sure.
So those are in a better place. It's the hand explodes that are a little bit too OP. But I like grenade launchers and RPGs right now. I think they're in a really sweet spot, actually.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you there, man. I think that especially because of the third-party heavy meta that we live in right now, that the explosives, you are not able to deal with a third party who has a rocket launcher and another person at the same time. They're constantly taking down so much of your builds when they're spamming at you that, unless the smart player tries to build, the person you're fighting, who more often than not is just going to try and all in you when you're trying to outbuild a rocket launcher, 8 times out of 10 probably lose that fight because of that. Where before, I could know where the rocket path was coming, I could play off where that was going to go, and then address the person at the same time. I could build a staircase to block this rocket and then go deal with the person that I'm fighting. I really hate the place that rockets are in, where they are just shredding buildings down. They are shredding buildings down. And I'm not even someone who camps in the tower. We forgot to talk about this in the episode 0, but the reason that we met each other is because the Flood was in a 1x1 And that situation would never happen anymore because they would just be shutting you down with rockets. All right.
I was a babe in the woods. I didn't know I didn't know any better.
Let's unpack the Tommy gun a little bit because I think the Tommy gun is like you said, that is the meta. Tommy gun. What are your thoughts on where it is right now? Are you okay with it? Can they fix it, or do they just need to vault it?
This is so frustrating because I actually really like it, but I don't know if I just like it because I've got bad aim and it accommodates me on that. You know what I mean? Like I'm hitting headshots by accident, and I'm into that.
Yeah. The accidental headshot. Like, yeah. First off, probably a great name for a rock band during the 90s or something like that. But yeah, you're right. Like people are just spraying and getting headshots with that thing.
And I mean, everyone talks about it just being like, press M1 and press W to win. I really don't think that's 100% accurate. But it is a little bit strong. I do like it though. I think it needs like, again, a gentle massage, probably. Maybe it's like a slightly longer reload time on the magazine. Maybe it's something subtle like that, just to tweak it so it's not quite as powerful. Because I really do like that you're countering the turtling. Because I can't tear through your 1x1 with a Scar against turbo build. Ever since turbo build, you need something.
Is that the problem? Is turbo build the problem with this meta? Because
but are you going to take away turbo build?
I'm down with it. All of a sudden, everyone's like a god builder in this game. In the matter of 3 weeks, everyone from not being able to build, all of a sudden, like just gods. And I'm like, what? Like I know you guys weren't building this well. The turbo building definitely prompted the turtle meta that we lived in at the end of season 4. I don't know. I'm down for turbo building getting taken out. I played the game before it was in, and I did very well for myself. And now that it's in the game, I'm doing a little less well for myself.
Even with turbo build, I was still clicking for a long time because I was used to it, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like the game would feel really slow and clunky if you took it away now.
Good. I like the game was a little slower because like people are just like spam building these walls, and then like another person third party with a rocket and tearing down all these builds. It's a mess. What's one thing you would change in the meta if you had a choice? This specific meta.
Well, we've just been over this. It's clingers. Get rid of fucking clingers. God damn. No, explosion. You know what? I'm with you on explosion damage. I think that the idea that's been floated about it having a damage radius, so the further you are, the less damage it does. So that way you can actually be in the back of your 1x1 and take, maybe 50% or 25% of the damage. That would be a genius way to not only stop the turtling mechanic because you're still breaking in, but not instant death all the time. It's so stupid.
It really is. All right, so now we have the meta established. Let's move into the esports.
Oh lordy!
Because you are king. I'm a professional esports player now, Flood.
Oh my god, I can't wait to get your autograph.
Summer Skirmish week 6 took place August 17th and 18th. This was an all-day tournament. 5 games for the EU players in the morning, 5 games for the North American players at the night. 2 days in a row with the same format. Let's talk about the format specifically. It was the Kingpin format. The Kingpin format, I'm just going to read this verbatim so I don't mess it up. Each game, teams will be ranked on based on the points earned in a single game. Eliminations earn players points that will be scored at the end of each match. Earning a victory royale will provide the team with a 3 times elimination bonus in the next match. Scoring 7 eliminations will score you a ×2 bonus in the next match. Those bonuses do not stack. So if you get the victory royale and 7 eliminations, you only got the 3 times bonus. And the teams were not pro teams. The teams had to consist of only 1 pro and 1 content creator or 2 content creators. I played in this. Obviously, I was a pro. I played with Liquid Straight Shot, the content creator.
He's a hell of a content creator, though.
Yeah. So you got to watch a few of the games. What'd you think about this tournament?
It was a blast watching you in a tournament format because you're generally someone who's cracking jokes and having fun, and you were still able to actually do that. But then the moment your partner would call something out, boom, you'd be like serious mode. And I haven't seen serious mode Drnkie like that. Like you were really focused up, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I think that format is a lot of fun. Off the cuff. Like, I haven't given this a ton of thought, and I haven't done the math on how that works out. But I like the idea of a multiplier. I like the idea of it encouraging kills, but a win still being insanely valuable, so that people aren't just going for the kills to sacrifice the win. They don't give a crap about the win. Yeah. The win is still insanely valuable until the last game, at which point, who cares? Because multipliers no longer matter. Yeah. But you're still going to try to get as many kills as you can. I think that's a really smart and effective way, because I've always had trouble conceiving of an idea of a battle royale in an esports format. It's such there's so many variables in a battle royale that it's so hard to just focus in on one. And I think that's a really clever way to do it. The distinction between content creator and esport pro, that's tricky, because
there were a couple of teams out there that were some heavy hitters, man. I think the most noticeable one to me was Liquid Poach and FaZe's Spaceline, who FaZe Spaceline used to be on their main 4-person squad, and now he's a solo content creator, but they're able to group together. That was a little scary for me going into that tournament. I seen that one, I was like, okay, good luck.
I guess that's not a pro.
Yeah.
It's good thing he's a content creator.
Yeah. So I know that they took a game. I don't know the results for the second game, but in terms of placement, on the first day, Nate Hill and Funkbomb took 2 games. Yellow or FaZe Yellow and FaZe Tfue were both took 2 games, and then Poach and Straight Shot took 2 games, and all those guys except Yellow play in pro scrims all the time. So
yeah, I was gonna say
Yellow is really the only person in that group that's not a pro scrimmer, as far as I know, and that kind of speaks to how great he is at the game, to be honest.
But FaZe in his name, is he not on their esports team?
He's more of a content creator for them. So that's a weird distinction that like kind of got fuzzy. So I don't know, like playing in the tournament definitely felt weird because I'm not a serious player anymore. I used to play TF2 competitively. That's like my claim to fame. Like I was a competitive TF2 player, probably not even like the best, competitive league for TF2. So playing that really like showed a lot to me about this game and how fast it's played and how much different it is when people know how to turtle and move through turtles and tunnel. The tunnel skill is like, oh my God, how do they do that?
Anytime you watch pro scrims, by the end, it's all crazy turtle tunnels and they're all on top of each other. And it's something you never see in a pub, not to that to that level anyway. Anytime I make any kind of tunnel now, I'm like, I'm in a scrim, guys. Look, mom and dad, I'm in a scrim. Like, it's such a joke. It's crazy how different that plays. And that's where the distinction between that explosive meta and that SMG meta starts to become a lot more interesting. And it's the classic game problem of how do you keep a game balanced for pros while at the same time keeping it balanced for your average pub player. Yeah,
100%.
It's always tricky. It's always going to be tricky.
And like, I was definitely a fan of the format though. It's definitely the most casual format they've ran. Placements really didn't matter unless they're tie-breaking kills. So, there's basically a big group of people who had 3 kills in the match, and then whoever placed higher, that's how higher you were on the prize money for that game, right? So I think my big problem with that format is that just placements almost didn't matter unless you got Victory Royale. You would cash a little better, but the one game where me and Strafe Shot really placed in the money, we went out like on the 20th. The people who actually won that game, it was Tfue and Yellow. Tfue clutching the end against Tempo, and then we placed higher than Tfue and Yellow during that match specifically, which it felt very confusing and like definitely can't be gratifying for the people who won the placement.
Well, there's ends up being a kind of a meta outside the game where you can almost plan to try to do a really safe game, get the win, so you have the multiplier and then try to pop off on the next one. But that's risky because if you get a bad drop on your next one, you just wasted that multiplier and then you got no points. Like it's an interesting format, and I don't think there's ever going to be a perfect format for Battle Royale. That's a good point. I think it's an interesting and fun one. What would you say like you learned about your game coming from just a pure content creator to not playing competitive? Like, did anything come of that? Did you learn anything? What tips would you give people? Like, what did you find out?
Definitely, if you're in a pro setting, you can't take one wall for granted. Every wall matters. When you're moving from your tower, you have to be building, because when the minute you start to move, the minute you start to engage, if you got a side exposed, there is going to be 1 or 2 teams on you. And these players, and everyone kept telling me, well, you just got to play your game and be more aggressive. And while yes, maybe I did take more of a unaggressive role in this tournament, you got to understand when you're running at, you know, some pros, there's going to be 2 laser beams hitting you like this. Like they're going to laser you, and like you don't have it. You don't have it to deal with it. Now you're in the open, you know, you're half health, and like you got another team adding on to you. Like it's just, you know, it shows you the importance of every wall, basically. Like when you're running, have to be placed in the stair, have to be placed in the wall next to it. Like you just have to, everything matters. And you take that into consideration when you're playing solos, and all of a sudden you just start to win all the time, because the games after that, you know, I came off and I was crushing it in solos.
I was just going to say, did it affect your after game when you were just playing your regular pubs?
Yeah, it definitely did. A few days out, I'm back to my old scrub self, but definitely the day afterwards, I was like, I'm on it now. I got it. You guys are ready for this? Professional Fortnite pro right here, bros. I got it.
Got to get that signature, man. I got to get on that early.
All right. So 2 things before we jump. Epic has been innovating Fortnite for a very long time. Yes. It's kind of kept it on top. It kept everyone interested. Let's talk about the innovation that Epic brings to Fortnite.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Well, this is one of the things that I love about Epic, and like there's so much to complain about, but you can complain about everything always. I think what Epic has done with Fortnite, I think they hit lightning with this game, and I think that they've done a really good job of season to season bringing something new and exciting. And even if it sometimes ends up letting us down ultimately, because we're like, oh, this shit turns into overpowered bullshit, and goddamn those jetpacks, whatever, they were fun. For a minute, they were fun, and we were all pumped about it. And they've managed to continue doing that. And worst case scenario, you wait a week, it gets vaulted. It's not the end of the world. Sure. So I love that they're doing that. And the biggest one lately has been the rifts. I love the rifts. They're my favorite thing in the goddamn game, because they opened up the map in a way that I never would have even conceived, because I would have just been like, I guess you add more vehicles, but that's boring, and I hate that. Like, I don't want those. You know, the fact that they managed to get the ATK in this game in a way that I didn't hate, I was blown away. I think it's so much fun.
It really is.
I was so scared of it turning into like a PUBG. It's always just finding a car, going in the car, the running game. But they added rifts, and they're balanced. They don't affect fights in a really negative way almost ever. Yeah. It's just movement. It opens the map. They're so glorious. And now, because I feel like this maybe I'm peaked, but I don't know what kind of genius, like 12-year-old in a room just coming up with crazy ideas they have, but he's killing it. He's killing it. And I can't wait to see what happens next. And I'm nervous about them being able to continue that level of excitement.
I am also nervous because it is risky for them to keep adding items, and adding some big items that I think other battle royales don't even attempt to add, like the bouncers and the launch pad. These are big game-changing items, and Epic kind of nails it, you know, I don't know, 4 out of 5 times. There have been some missteps. But like you said, they wait and they patch it out and they vault stuff. But I'll be honest, there's a item coming up which should be dropping tomorrow, which is great because we're recording the podcast tonight. Thank you, everybody. So they are introducing the Rift to Go, which is in line with what they did with the bounce pads in season 4. Once you had the hop racks, added the bouncers, and they removed the hop racks. They had the same basic movement pattern. So in line with that, we are getting the Rift to Goes, which apparently we don't, no specifics on it yet at the time of recording this podcast. Looks like it's going to be an item that you keep in your inventory. Allegedly, it's going to act just like a Rift. What are your thoughts on the Rift to Go?
Love it. I'm pumped about it. I'm assuming it'll work as an item just like a Portafort, where it'll take up 1 item slot. I am assuming you will throw it down like a little snow globe that it is, and it'll open like a regular ass normal Rift like we already have. And I'm assuming it'll function the same way, which means if you go in it, it'll still last the 10 seconds or however many seconds it is. I love it. I think it's genius. I think that it's going to be really exciting. I love the idea of it. I think it could turn into a nightmare, and I might hate myself for saying this a couple weeks from now, but we'll see. I love the idea of you being like turtled into a box trying to heal, and you're like, nah, screw it. Pop my Portagort, get out, and away I go. I'm out. I reposition. I reset my fight. Let's go.
No, you're the type of person that wear a jetpack even after everyone agreed that they were awful. This thing is going to be fun. This thing is going to be like the jetpack, dude. Oh, I just got outbuilt massively. I got no health. Well, I'm just going to port a rift inside of this guy's build and then get on the other side of the map. I am so nervous for the item. This is the casualization of Fortnite even further. I don't I'm gonna wait to see when it's in game to really have an opinion on it. But just first thought, scary stuff, bro. Scary stuff.
You're 100% right, because this is what I just said about rifts being so balanced. This is where they become unbalanced, because you're actually using them in fights. They're not static. It does change the game in a big way, but I'm really, again, I feel like it's going to be fun.
We'll see. Like, you know, just like speculation, I'd probably say they're not going to rift you as high as a rift does now, because the hop rocks gave you much more mobility than the bounce pad did. The bounce pads are kind of like a reduced version of the hop rock. I don't think the rifts are going to give you the amount of elevation that you get from the ones in game now. I think the rift to go is going to be probably the half the height. I hope. I'm
going to speculate that it's the exact same as a regular rift.
All right, man. We'll see.
That's my guess, and I'm pumped about it. And also, speaking of this, I know there was a rumor about grappling hooks.
Ooh.
Because, and then everyone assumed it was confirmed because the Epic account on Reddit said something about, hey, we need more mobility on the go. But I think that's actually talking about these Porta rifts, and I'm curious because I'm interested in a grappling hook. Where would you say?
I'm gonna say the grappling hook is still coming down the pipeline, because I think the grappling hook is gonna address the issue they're trying to address with the jetpacks of scaling someone's builds, but doing it in a much more balanced way, I guess. A much more just because you can't build doesn't mean you can just, you know, fly over everyone's like 18-story height build.
Yeah. I'm really excited about the idea of a grappling hook. I hope it comes down the pipe. I think I'm pumped about it.
All right, let's leave episode 1 of the Fortnite update there. Make sure if you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe to the channel. Our audio listeners, this is the most important time for you to hit the 5-star rating. Comment on the podcast. That will give us the most discovery. The first few weeks for this is very important to us. So we really appreciate if you help us out there. And don't forget to share this thing with all your friends. Let your friends know there's a hot new podcast on the block, and you should be listening to it. Punk, what are you doing with your time?
Fortnite update.
I'm Drnkie, that's The Flood. We'll see you guys on the next episode of the Fortnite update. Bye, everybody.
Catch you later.